When I saw this polar bear, I knew I needed to make something for my daughter. Then I got the snow globe stencil in and thought it would be absolutely perfect together. So on this board, I decided I wanted to do a blue background. Number one, because it's winter scene, but also because my daughter loves the blues. So I got out the new Paint Couture colors and I chose Duck Egg and Night Sky. Misting it with water helps the paint stay more transparent. And I used a blend between, not really a blend, sort of almost like a layer and partially blended together, just to keep it sky-like. I think it looks a little purple here, but it doesn't in person. So I don't know, something with the lighting's making it look a little purple. And I left that center part still white because I'm going to go over it with white because that's where the globe's going to sit, and I need white for the decoupage paper. And there's the stencil. I just sketched around it so I would know where I wanted to paint the white and then the blue on the bottom. And around it, I figured I wanted it to look sort of like evergreen trees. I didn't necessarily want to go pine, so I thought that the fern stencil could look sort of like the yews that are, or arborvitaes. Or ferns. Whatever you want it to be. I use the pouncing method to do it. I don't swirl, especially on stencils that are that tiny, and you've got to make sure you dab off your brush so that it's almost dry brushing, or you'll end up with bleed through underneath. And here I just used one of the whites from Paint Couture. I'm not sure which one it was. And I didn't worry too much about having super solid coverage. I just wanted it to be white enough so that the paper would have a good backing and not be changing the color of it. What's the odds of picking up that stick with the paintbrush, dropping it, and having it actually drop on the white spot? So this video is a little longer because there's a few more steps, but I just want to take a second to say thanks for watching and let you know there's going to be other projects with this same paper in our series. So I hope you will watch those too and share them with others and let us know what you think. Saving that fawn for another project. Haven't figured out what it's going to be yet, but I really like the fawn too. So first I thought I would wet tear, and then I don't know, I was a little worried about it being too jagged looking since it is supposed to be a fine edge. So I switched to cutting it, then decided it would be easier just to draw the line on the back and be able to see it a little bit better. And thankfully I remembered to turn the stencil over so that the bottom, which is just a little bit different on each side, would be lined up on the right spot. If I'd have messed that part up, I don't know that it would have made a big difference though. And I used Paint Couture's Shine Decoupage. I felt like that would be a better background. And I didn't get that on there quick enough, so the paper was starting to dry, and that's why it fell off the plastic sheet. Normally the plastic sheet can help you lay it down where you want it, but with the paper being damp like this, it's easier to reposition if you need to, so at least that part saved me. I had a little wrinkle there. I ended up with one, maybe two very small wrinkles when I was finished, but I don't think they show bad. And the saran wrap helps you smooth it out without tearing it. And it's easier not to get wrinkles if you sort of just do a little bit at a time and work your way down. Doesn't end up sticking ahead of where you're prepared to laying it. I put another layer over top with the gloss. Bliss is what we chose to put underneath the underneath color for the base of the snow globe. I didn't realize that I had moved down and was a little bit out of camera, so you can just see this top part of it where I actually show how I put it on. Brush from on top of the stencil down in, not in the gap up on towards the stencil, if that makes sense. That way you don't push anything up under it. All my brushing I did along the same direction as the curve so that any lines actually help make that look like it's more dimensional. And Luxe Metallic Slate Blue is what we put on top because we needed a little bit of shimmer so it would look like metal. And I used that in all the parts of the stencil, like the open parts. And then once I took the stencil off, then I just sort of brush it through, but intentionally leave some lines so it looks like shading. And I don't know how well you can tell there. You can tell a little bit better here. And then I took at the top of at the base of the globe, at the top of the stand, tucked that blue around behind it. And here I'm just using Brilliant White to accent all those snowflakes that are on the paper. And then Green Iris I used along the edges. It's very transparent and iridescent. We used to have a blue like this, but don't have that. And I figured underneath Evergreen, it would reflect off green anyway, so. And my plan was that was just going to be at the edge, and then I was going to lighten that by mixing it with Sheer Bliss. Well, here I put a whole coat of Sheer Bliss on just to have shimmer across the whole globe. But then on the stencil parts, I was going to mix the green iris with the sheer Bliss just to lighten it some. But then as I was doing it, it just wasn't showing up enough. So then I sort of went more with the green iris and then a little bit back and forth. You'll see that here coming up. Like there, the mix isn't even showing. It is nice to have the stencil as a guide though, because otherwise I think I might tend to get a little heavy-handed on it and there's no going back at some point. So I was happy to have the guide. I was pretty happy with how it turned out. And I think my daughter will like it too.